Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Hunter with Rebel Outdoors, and today we're going to do a little 40,000 mile tire review on the Milestar Patagonia MTs.
Oh man, the lighting's wrong for full flex.
So, when you have a truck like the Moose, sometimes you got to clear some trails. So this little Milwaukee
and the lighting's wrong for full flex. Tell him to turn off his light. Yeah.
We're gonna get wet right here. So this tire I have next to me is a Milestar Patagonia MT in a 40 by 13.5 R17. So these are some meaty guys. So this isn't really going to be like a tire review per se. Now these are the first set of tires that I have had on my Ram 2500 Moose build. And these weren't the original tires that I was going to go to. I was waiting on a set of the Toyo, I think they're called the Open Country or Open Terrain, the Mud Terrain tires from Toyo. And they just weren't in stock and having a hard time getting them, didn't know when they were going to come back. And they had a set of these in, so I really like the tread pattern on it, so I figured, hey, let's try it out. So originally these tires are usually rated for around 30,000 miles. And like the title of this video says, I do have 42,000 miles on these, and of course most of this is going to be road stuff, but I have had the opportunity to test these guys in snow, ice, deep snow, mud, rocks, all that kind of fun stuff. So just a little bit about these tires now. I don't know the technical name for it. Most of your riding is going to be on this center like pattern here. And what that kind of does is basically makes it a little bit more quieter. You have a little bit less of a footprint on the road, which is kind of good in like icy type situations. This being a mud terrain, one thing I was obviously worried about living here in Michigan is how are they going to do in the snow and the icy road. As you can see all along here, there's all kinds of siphoning that's going on these big tread blocks here. These really big voids here to kind of get rid of some of that ice and water, as well as stone ejectors and things like that. Now in deep snow, these tires actually do fairly well for mud terrain. Snow, icy roads, I mean, I feel like they do pretty good. I really haven't had that many slippage type issues or not having traction. Now of course there's some better options out there, like being a hybrid tire or an all-terrain tire. Now with these being a 40-inch mud terrain, I'm honestly surprised how quiet it is in the cab. Now of course going highway, you can still hear the humming noise of the tires. Been really happy with how quiet these things are, and people that I do know have 40s, and I'm like, wow, these are really quiet in the cab, and I don't have any kind of like sound damper or anything. I usually can't hear it anyway because, you know, my music's usually too loud. Now as far as like the actual off-road performance of these tires, like I've mentioned before, I have taken these through deep snow. They've done really well in the deep snow. Not so great on like just icy type trails, which I don't really think there's many out there that will do good on icy type trails. In the mud and dirt and rocks, these things are absolutely phenomenal. One of my trips down to Kentucky, we were getting into some fun, muddy rocks, you know, technical type stuff, and these tires did absolutely amazing. I wasn't having any kind of traction issues whatsoever. Now these tires do have a pretty nice little aggressive sidewall too. They probably have like that much that comes down from the side here. So when I do air these things down, they just grip any kind of obstacle and help pull you over. One thing I do think is a reason why these tires have lasted as well as they have for as long as they have is the fact that I've been rotating my spare in. Now there's two schools of thought on that, right? You can rotate your spare in and get a little bit more out of all 5 tires, or you cannot rotate a spare in, and when you do switch your tires out like I'm doing here pretty quickly, you'll have to get 4 of them. With these being a mud terrain tire, they're probably going to wear a little bit quicker, as well as I usually do a lot of driving anyway, especially for like distance stuff. So I was going to try to test that theory out, see how I liked it. And I think on my next set, I might not do that with the spare, just to try it out. One kind of issue that I've heard about these tires was things puncturing the sidewall. Now this is a 3-ply sidewall, and I haven't had any issues of leakage or popping or anything of that nature on these tires. The only kind of, well, there's 2 kind of issues that I've had with these tires, neither of which I really think are the tire itself. So one of those being when I was down in Kentucky at the Overland the Red event, I was flexing out so much, and there were some spots back up in here, my wheel well, you probably can't see it, but they were like daggers. And now I have like chopped that off, rounded everything out, smoothed it out as best I can. But there were a couple spots where, especially on the tires on my passenger side right now, but that tire's like actually kind of chewed up. Not to the point where it's like not usable or I'm worried about it like tearing chunks off, but I mean it's got some gouges in it. It just looks like extra siping is what I tell myself. Currently they do offer the MT2s, and they're pretty much the same tread design and everything. They just, from my understanding, have a slightly different compound. And one piece of feedback that they've gotten, and I've kind of dealt with this a little bit, but again, I don't think it's the tires, is that they were wearing abnormally. A while ago, I had to get the hem joint replaced on my track bar. I think it was my track bar. And basically, when they did that, they gave me an alignment, but my wife and I drove up to like Copper Harbor, which is like 12 hours from our house, and we're coming out of the store and looking at the truck tires, and they're both leaning to the driver's side. So that was a lot of miles, and of course, you know, that we did 12 hours there, drive around for I think like 4 or 5 days, and then driving all that back. It took some more on the tires, and I've tried to correct those with rotating them in properly, and they're not as bad as they have been, but I mean, you know, the damage was done. So I don't really account that to the tires themselves as much as I do as getting that bad alignment job. And that's all I'm going to go into that. If you guys have any questions about these tires, as always, be sure to leave comments down below. I do really like these tires. Now, for me being in Michigan and it being snowy up here for usually a few months, I say that, and it's, you know, middle of January and there's no snow anywhere here, but usually there's a lot more snow here. So with being a mud terrain tire, that probably wasn't the best choice on my end, but is what was available, and I really wanted to try these, and I definitely would get them again. I highly recommend them. I don't think you can go wrong. The only thing that I would say, if you live above the salt belt, so like if it snows in the wintertime, just kind of be mindful, maybe run with a little bit less PSI so you get a little bit more of that tread contact on your road. I do a lot of on-road driving for my personal business, as well as just traveling for overland trips, events, all that kind of fun stuff. So I am going to be trying out a set of the Milestar Patagonia XTs, also in a 40. Ideally, I would like to get another set of these to have for summertime when I don't have to worry about the snow, and then throw the XTs on in the wintertime. But if you've ever seen the price of a 40-inch tire, you know that that's they're not cheap. So I think for right now, I'm going to give the XTs a good go around, and then hopefully maybe this summer, maybe next summer, I'll get another set of these in the MT2s to have as like a spring, summer, fall tire before we get that snow in. I hope you guys like this little video. As always, I try to put out some good information. I'm very good about getting back to people leaving comments down below, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down there. And as always, guys, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. Also, I don't know how you can, I don't think you can really see it, but I have 17-inch wheels and a 40-inch tire, so like, that's how much sidewall I have. If you have like that much sidewall, just don't. More sidewall, more air down, more contact, good grip, overland.